What is going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Today we are going to be doing another hair metal type news for the month of September. Now we are going to be going to a website, junkyardstories.com. They have different articles, different topics, and just news of the hair metal genre and some other little different subgenres as well. But definitely we will check them out here and see what kind of the consensus, what the news is of the past couple weeks. What is going on, guys? We are over here now to junkyardrockstories.com. And now, like on our first episode with the news, we kind of looked at sleagerocks.com. And I thought this month was a little weaker on the news front as far as uh, rock and metal stories and stuff like that. So I thought let's go to just another website that I've been looking at here a lot lately, and just because they have some topics I wanted to touch on, and they have some different updates as well. And just like right here, the band Confess with their new single Spitfire, which was actually technically, I guess, released today, and I did see the video this morning. Pretty good. I like it. I have not heard Confess, but they do have that like second wave of sleaze metal, like kind of like the Veins of Jenna feel, Crash Diet feel, and stuff like that. Really good. I like it. Digging it. So like some of the other things here, like we just seen go by Hair Metal Guru. Shout out to Anthony. We for his Slave to the Grind. Is Slave to the Grind a flop? I did see that video, and I guess it depends who you're asking, if it's a flop or not. And I would say no, just based on the fact that the album's awesome. There's not much, there might be only like one or two tracks I don't care for on it that gets kept off the iPod. But generally speaking, no, I like it better than the debut. That's probably, it might be my favorite Skid Row album, actually. Great ballads on there, and great rockers, like Get the Fuck Out, Living on the Chain Gang. I love that song. That's a great rocker there. But I understand the other side of it, though, too, is that it did flop technically, because if you're coming off of a great debut album that sold more than 1 million copies and did so well with a lot of number one or like high Billboard charting singles, you're kind of expecting that again. A lot of the record company, the band was expecting that. But then again, you got to think here, we're in 1991. Slave to the Grind comes out. What, like a month or two later, Nirvana hits the scene big time. And now, if Slave to the Grind got released in 1990, 1989, it would have sold more than 1 million copies. So I think it's just dependent on who you ask. I don't think it's a flop. Technically, it's not a flop if it went platinum. But then again, you're on the other side there. Oh, yeah, just like Def Leppard's Adrenalize is technically considered a flop because that's kind of in the same ballpark as what Slave to the Grind was as far as sales, but coming off of a huge album as far as sales go. And, I get both sides of it, but me personally, I wouldn't say to somebody, oh, yeah, this is a flop album, Slave to the Grind. But if I had to choose actually between the two, Adrenalize and Slave to the Grind, I would certainly say that Adrenalize was the flop. But I actually kind of like that album. I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets. But that's for a different topic and video. But anyway, like Slave to the Grind, I wouldn't necessarily, I think it was just wrong time. That's what we preach here on this channel, Crash Course Metal Show. That wrong time killed many a masterpieces in the hair metal genre. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Boy, this party really died.
But yeah, go check out that video from Anthony, the hair metal guru. Good stuff. But my final answer, I would say no. Me personally, when I listen to it, I don't say this is a flop. So, I mean, like I said, it all depends who you ask, guys. But let us go on to another one here. It looks like here, Alley Cat Scratch. Great band. That's actually a band in the video that me and Anthony did on the channel. I will put the link here right now. And we talked about Alley Cat Scratch along with the many other bands that survived. Well, yeah, that basically survived the first wave of grunge, that survived Kurt Cobain's depressive songs, and just no fun songs, and just God, when you look back at it, I didn't live through it, so I certainly feel for everyone that lived through it, and the party rug got pulled out from under them. It's kind of sucks, but we talked about I like Cat Scratch. So this article here says a band that's bit like Steel Panther before it was cool. Now, I would say generally here, let's see, I'm guessing there's a comparison here. What do bands like Steel Panther and Alley Cat Scratch have in common? Steel Panther is known primarily for two key aspects: their hair and glam musical style, along with their notorious fun comedic lyrics type. But the real question is, can anyone truly match them in that regard? Not to the extreme as Steel Panther, I would say. But yes, I on this album, the debut album for Alley Cat Scratch, good album. But if you want to talk about a swan song album from the hair metal genre, that I mean, 1993 did produce a couple debut hair metal records that were really good, but I mean, this is just one of them. And man, it's a great, middle finger in the air to what was going on at the time. And I gotta give them credit because they pretty much disbanded within the year after it. They did it like an album release party, I believe, and in California or like in I'm not sure if it was LA, but it was somewhere in around that scene. And they were like, we see the writing on the wall, and we're just gonna disband basically after this release party. And I gotta give them credit for that though too. They didn't go out and do any grungy stuff, as the band, as Alley Cat Scratch. So they're talking about the song off the album, Love Song, which, it is very tongue in cheek, something that Steel Panther could do, as what this article says. But there are other bands there too that in the 80s in the hair metal scene that have songs somewhat similar. Like songs that Lord Tracy does on their debut album. Are kind of very tongue in cheek, kind of like Steel Panther vibes. Even like Love Hate kind of even has lyrics somewhat that I could see Steel Panther, especially on the drug related side of things. So I mean, Steel Panther, yes, they are like the comedic, kind of make fun of the genre, but I don't necessarily have a problem with them. I like them. I think the first two, three albums are pretty good. Now, ever since then, yes, it is kind of like hit and miss on some of these songs for me and albums. But generally speaking, I'm a fan of Steel Panther. Good live band as well. I saw them live. Very cool. But I think they do more good than harm. At the end of the day, I think it's more of a positive, a net positive, still with Steel Panther to the public than it is a negative. So I think that's all you can really ask for in 2020. Or what 2015 when they came out. Oh God, it might even be longer than that. The more I'm thinking about it, the price. Yeah, time's rolling by, guys. But yeah, I mean, I dig this article. There, I like trying to compare it, and I like the just the bring up of Valley Cat Scratch. I mean, not enough people talk about Valley Cat Scratch. I only have one video for him, and I feel like I got to talk about him a little bit more now too. So, but no, great, really good band, really good stuff. And like I said, guys, all the time, early '90s, was 1990, 2, and 3, even 4 in certain examples are really, really good stuff coming out, and just a growth, different even like avenues within the hair metal genre, within the sleaze metal genre. Just I think we got totally robbed by a lot of different things. The industry, the music industry, or like the record labels and such like that, media. We got robbed, and it's just a shame. But we could talk about the three-letter agencies and the music industries all day about what came after hair metal and just metal in general. The big turn that all music took in basically 1990, 1991. So let's move on here to another article here. Let's go here. Guns N' Roses new album in 2025. So basically, I did read this article already. It's saying that there's real no true source yet of a new album for 2025, but then he ends up going and says, like Duff talked about having a lot of new songs for a new Guns N' Roses album. in 2025 on the Eddie Trunks Hair Nation. And, you know, it says here to come on, you're not an up and coming band trying to break through to TikTok or Instagram. Your Guns N' Roses doesn't matter how you release the music. People will listen because they're curious about what you have to offer, which is true. Whether it's on CD, vinyl, cassette, or combination of streaming and physical plat or formats, fans will buy it. There's no need to overthink it. I get that. But me, I mean, in my personal opinion, and I think a couple other people that I talked to, if it's only on digital and I gotta buy it on digital, I'm not gonna buy it. Even if it's the second coming of Appetite for Destruction, I don't know if I would buy it. Honestly, there's only like maybe, or there's only two, maybe three albums I ever bought digitally because I just couldn't find it. One of them was XYZ's Hungry because I could not find that for years, and then after I bought it digitally, like 1 or 2 years later, Jason from Wrath of Typhon found it for me. And I'm like, oh Jesus, that's awesome. Like so looking back, yes, I was happy I got it the year or two earlier. But just like everything else, if you wait long enough, you will eventually find it, no matter how rare it is. And it depends on the price that you want to pay they too at the same time. But I'm a physical guy. I really don't buy digital just because I don't know, it's just something that I may know about. But so like I get this article, and I think you know Guns N' Roses, their last release was Chinese Democracy, which I think it's a bad rap. If you're not a fan of Buckethead's guitar style, I think it will be kind of rough for you to listen to it and very technical. But I like it. When it first came out, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But as time moves on, every year that goes by, I find something that I like off that album more and more and more. And generally, I will say I like most of that album now. Is it better than Appetite? No, of course not. But there is Axel still sounds pretty good on a lot of those songs. Axel still sounds like Axel, I think. And yes, we all love Slash, we all love Duff, we all love Steven for their musicianship and work on the original albums. But your normie Guns N' Roses fan, I think, as long as the sound of Axel is there, I think there isn't too much of a problem. But I think it was just so out in left field with some of the stuff on Chinese Democracy that it was just like, whoa, this doesn't even sound like rock and roll, kind of. It was just so different. But I think as time moves on, I think the album gets a little bit more appreciated. I certainly appreciate it more as time moves on. And just really good stuff on there, too. Axel sounds good. All right. So, but yeah, for Guns N' Roses 2025, sure, if it comes on something on a physical format, I'll pick it up. And if obviously if I hear something that I like, that's cool too. But if there's something, I mean, there's some of the newer songs that came out that within the past like 5 years or so that was just okay. Nothing that I would certainly go out and run out and grab first day of release. So we'll see what happens there in 2025 with Guns N' Roses.
This is Parker,
and Leo from Wings of Steel.
and you're watching Crash Course Metal Show.
All right, let's get one. We'll do at least one more article here. All right, let's talk about Motley Crue. Actually, that kind of reminds me that Motley Crue yesterday released a picture of what was it? Like a red world, a red Earth, and it says big news coming soon on the October 3rd. And hopefully it's not just another farewell tour bullshit stuff. You get out of here with that bullshit. But I don't know. I don't know what we're expecting here from Motley Crue. Is it another song? Is it another album? Maybe an EP? I don't know. I'm not holding out hope for anything other than a tour. I feel like that's just going to be kind of like what the last like 10 years of Motley Crue's news was. And other than just like random, just okay, lukewarm songs, quality wise. So, all right, let's see what this list here. Have you ever wondered what the most played live songs by your favorite bands are? Today, we're going to be answering the question with 10 most played songs by Motley Crue. For this, we will be using Setlist FM statistics. Okay, this is cool. Which gives us an overview of all their concerts dating back to 24 of April 1981, and the show in West Hollywood. Keep in mind that this is a fan based website where users can enter and edit their information, so it might not be 100% accurate, but it is the best data we have, and it gives you a consensus. Okay, I can dig that. Okay, so basically, the ranking of these songs is all the songs that were in their set list, the number of times they were in their set list, from my understanding, and somewhat of a possibly a fan ranking as well, consensus type deal. All right, let's go see. Number one, Shout Out to Devil. Great song. One of the ones that is overplayed, but I actually still really like. Out of all the like very popular Motley Crue songs, this is the one I hear the least amount of all the overplayed ones, I would say. Certainly through the 80s era and up until Dr. Feelgood of the original run. All right, number two, we got Livewire with 1,400 performances. All right, good song. I mean, this is another one that might be a little bit on the lower end of being played, kind of like Shout Out to Devil, compared to the rest of the singles and hits throughout the 80s. Number three, Looks Like Kill. All right, good. You know, it is what it is. I mean, I don't need. I want to tell you right now, so I don't have to keep repeating it. I probably will not have to hear any of these songs hardly ever again. I think somewhat. Don't crucify me now. Motley Crue is somewhat overrated. I mean, if it wasn't for Mick Mars, I don't know if Motley Crue would be as good as they are. I think Mick Mars, the riffs, the guitar work carried Motley Crue through a lot of stuff. And sure, Vince was Vince, awesome back in his day, back in the 80s. So yeah, I get it, but he was never like the wow singer, the most talented singer. But he's there early enough at the right time. Nicky is a good songwriter, no doubt about that. He's a good player. But I think Mick Mars, there's something with Mick Mars behind the scenes, not being the guy that, hey, look at me, like how the other three were. He was the most mature, it seemed like. He wasn't in all these bullshit stories, getting in trouble and stuff. He seemed to be the most serious one of the bunch. And that's just like me looking on the outside in from what I've seen throughout my life of Motley Crue. And so take that for what you will. Number four, Home Sweet Home. Another one I mean, you could say one of the first power ballads because I am of the camp of Dawkins Alone again being the first power ballad, being the first slow metal ballad. And what that came out, Tooth and Nail, that came out first before Theater of Pain. So, there you go. And I am certainly more of a fan of Doc than I am of Motley Crue as well. So that's another reason why I'm in the Alone Again camp. Number five, Wild Side. Okay, here we go with the stuff that gets played all the time on radio. And it was cool. When I was a teenager, I'm cool with it. A good song and everything, but I just do not need to hear these again. Girls Against Girls, same exact thing. I will say, Girls Against Girls album absolutely is not good. Is one of my least favorite Motley Crue albums. Hell, at this point, I would probably even rather listen to Saints of Los Angeles or Generation Swine over Girls Against Girls, to be completely honest with you. Every time I put Girls Against Girls in, which I probably listen to I only listen to it once a year if it's lucky. It might be once every 2 years at this point or more. Because every time I listen to it, I'm like, God, this is so not good. So many other bands at the time and who came later produced so much better stuff. And it's like, oh, God, come on. But, I mean, it's a Motley Crue. What you got to do? All right, Kickstart My Heart. Decent. When it comes on still, you still kind of get pumped when you hear it in a sport arena, at a sports game. It gets you going, no doubt. Dr. Feelgood, I like the riff. Good stuff there. One of the ones that do get still played to hell today that I can be like, okay, I might leave this on. It's not a quick, like, okay, I got to turn this. Number 9, Same Old Situation. Fine, really like poppy melodic of the singles on Dr. Feelgood, I would say. But it's all right. Nothing crazy. I'm not gonna die on the hill for it or against it. But number 10, Don't Go Away Mad, I will say, is one of my favorite Motley Crue songs. I do really enjoy it. Every time it comes on, I get in a good mood. It's just really good stuff. Okay, so number 10, I'm all there with. God, but like all the other ones though, I do not really listen to. Like I said, guys, 1994 is where it's at for me, especially the last couple of years. Now, even like I did a review on New Tattoo. I really dig New Tattoo. I think that was the reunion album that needed to be over Generation Swine, and I think there's just different albums that you guys that we can all listen to instead of the same old stuff. That's just, especially Girls Are Girls, that's just not that good at the end of the day. All right. Can this order change in the future? In the case of Motley Crue, probably not. They are in the late stages of, okay, so it is basically gig related type ranking as well. All right, so that's that. The last played Motley Crue songs. Why? Oh, the least played Motley Crue songs. Why You're Killing Yourself? Run for Your Life. Raise Your Hands to Rock. The first two, I honestly can't even say I don't even remember how they go. Number 4, I don't even know how that goes. Raise Your Hands to Rock. Theater of Pain. I actually I like Theater of Pain. I think it's way better than Girls Those Girls. Um, Mixed riffs on that album is really good. Production is the thing that's lacking, I think. I think what a lot of people get turned off on that album as well because of the production. Where were we at here? Hypnotized 1994. I believe that might be on the EP with John Corabi, if I'm not mistaken, which I haven't listened to that for a long, long time. All right. Fight for Your Rights, Beastie Boys. Oh, what? All right. Um, All Bad Things, 2005. Is that what was that off of? What release or like what compilation? I forget. Till Death Do Us Part. I'm actually surprised I got 5 plays, to be honest with you. Great song. I love that song. Till Death Do Us Part. Great riff. John Corabi and Mick Mars totally worked together. That was a great album. It was good. Just musically, just a great album. You can say what you want about John's voice. If you're expecting Vince Neil, Motley Crue on that album, you're just not going to like it at the end of the day. You're just not. And that takes nothing away from the 94 album, from John Corabi's album. All right. Stick to Your Guns. Too Fast for Love. That song's just okay. Too Fast for Love is another one that's just okay for me. It's not in my top 3 ranking discography for Motley Crue. Number 10, I Will Survive. That's a decent song. I do have the reissue with this on Shout Out to Devil, and it's not bad. It's better than probably like Danger or Bastard, or I could see that being on Shout Out to Devil or one of the 2 other songs on that album. Number 11, Drift Away. Great ballad to finish off 94. Oh my God. Here we are talking about 94 a lot, which I wasn't actually expecting here. Rocket Ship. Yeah, that song is not that good. Let Us Pray. I do always praise Let Us Pray from Generation Swine. I think it's a pretty heavy song. And then they also use John's backing vocals in that song. And I think that kind of helps. I think that's really cool to hear Vince's voice in a song along with John Corabi. I think it works. And as we know, John Corabi was slated to be the singer for Generation Swine, and he did start doing a couple songs at least. And then that's when they got together with Vince Neil and all that went to hell. All right. Let's see. I would really like to hear Generation Swine with John Corabi's voice. Now, yes, would it have been so modern at the time sounding industrial, weird shit? Probably, but I have a feeling John might have brought a little bit more guitars to it as well. And Mick wouldn't have been so outnumbered as to say, hey, don't play that guitar like you normally do and that you can because you're not good enough. Bullshit. That when I hear that story, it just kills me. And fucking Motley Crue. Shit. All right. Anybody out there, Generation Swine? Confessions, Generation Swine. I will say these are like these 2 here are ones that I just don't really listen to off Generation Swine. There's, like I said, half that album I can listen to, and the other half is just I don't remember much. Not memorable stuff. White Punks on Dope. That's a cool song. Oh, New Tattoo. Planet Boom. I think I heard that once or twice. Not really my thing. All right, Beauty, Generation One. Okay, a rat like me. Yeah, whatever. I mean, as you can see, Motley Crue, like I said, I was a big fan of them back in my teenage years, but they are not aging well for me because the deeper I go in, like ever since I was like young lad, basically born, I've been diving into the 80s era hair metal stuff. And even to this day, I'm still finding new stuff that was released in the hair metal genre in the 80s and early 90s. And that just are masterpieces that just don't get played. And then when I hear like these these songs, especially like some of them here, it's just like we're giving all this praise to Motley Crue, and they only did like what, three good albums at most, great albums at most. Yeah, I feel like they depreciate for me over time, in my opinion. As I find out more bands from the 80s, from hair metal and stuff like that, they depreciate. They don't get better over time, in my opinion. And you can really honestly look at the newer stuff as well. And it's just like, man, they're just not holding up well. Writing. You have years to write a new album, and the songs that you do come out, singles, are just not there. It's just I don't know. That's just where I'm at with Motley Crue. I know I'm probably on an island somewhat with that, but it's just a band I just do not visit that much anymore because there's so much other great stuff in that era, and that just gets overlooked. All right, so I think we have talked here long enough, guys. That is somewhat the news. Trying to think. Doug Aldrich did a couple things I can think off the top of my head. Doug Aldrich did get diagnosed with some kind of like mild or like low like type of throat cancer type deal, if I'm not mistaken. Did have surgery to clear that up. Hopefully all goes well with Doug. Love his work on Hurricane, the Slave to the Grind album, or Slave to the Thrill, sorry. Slave to the Grill album. Awesome stuff. But yeah, off the top of my head, guys, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk. Rest in peace as well to Jack Russell. If we did not talk about that on the last episode, I cannot remember. But yeah, sadly we're losing some people, and it's just not cool. And just appreciate what you have, the music that you have now, and now the albums will always be there for us. But it, you don't want to see the end of an era come to an end like this. Like just the death of people and stuff like that is just sad state of affairs. But guys, let me know what you think of this episode. Throw in some of your comments.
Talk to me.
Some of the news that you've seen this month that I mean, I'm sure I missed stuff, but tell me some of the things some of the topics that you want me to touch on next time as well. And, let me know what your thoughts are. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching the Crash Course Metal Show. Stay out of that collateral damage and check out this video right here if you enjoyed this.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.